Hello, I'm Allison Osved. I'm a current APPIC board member and member of the APPIC Postdoctoral Work Group. I'm here to share with you information about applying for postdoctoral training positions. The process can feel overwhelming, confusing, and fragmented, especially in comparison to the internship application process. APPIC and the APPIC board would like to support and empower you with information, and that's what we're here to talk about today. In this video, we're going to be talking about tools and resources for learning about the postdoctoral application process. And so let's begin. You may be wondering where to look when it comes to getting started in finding postdoctoral training opportunities. The good news is there are so many resources for you. One thing is to start local. So a good idea is to start by reaching out to multiple sources in your own life. These would be people like your internship training director, TD, people at APPIC like myself, listservs within APPIC and beyond, within perhaps the divisions of APA where you feel at home. Whether that's Division 17 for counseling psychology, Division 40 for neuro, and so on. And of course, don't forget about your graduate program. Your home grad program, the Director of Clinical Training, or DCT there, could have a wealth of information about where trainees from your program have gone in the past for postdoctoral training. Those are all really important people to talk to, and they're right at your fingertips, and you probably already have established strong relationships with some of those individuals and familiarity with some of those organizations. However, it's also important to be aware that knowledge varies between individuals. So not everybody that you reach out to may be well informed about postdoctoral training issues. That's okay, because it's probably not their lane. Not everyone has to know about postdoctoral training issues, and it's important for them to be informed about their area of practice, whether it's grad program level training or internship level training. It's also very hard to stay up on postdoctoral training issues because the landscape constantly changes each year. So the pool of positions may change from year to year. So just know that there can be a great deal of confusion, and it's important to keep asking questions or keep having those conversations with the people that you reach out to. There certainly will be people in your circle who will be well informed about the issues. You may be wondering where to start when it comes to finding postdoctoral programs and positions. The great news is there are so many resources available to you. So the APPIC survey data show us that applicants didn't know how and where to find postdoctoral training programs. Given this, we wanted to make sure that you all did know where to find programs this year. And so what we'd like to do is point out key places where you can learn about postdoctoral training programs. One of those places is the APPIC directory. The drawback of the APPIC directory is that it is for APPIC member programs only. Currently, there are about 186 programs in our directory, but again, there are many other postdoctoral programs that are not APPIC members and would not be in our directory. Many programs have also utilized mail groups, so specific institutions like the VA or APPIC, our member organization, or those specialty divisions within APA. So joining those email groups from the organizations that you'd like to work with is also a good idea and a good place to get information. As we've mentioned previously, talking to people like your supervisors, your internship TD, faculty from your doctoral program, that can be another source of information for finding postdoctoral training experiences. Another important place to look is the APA Monitor. And for neuropsychology specifically, there is the ABSIN Match and the ABSIN website, which will have a list of all the ABSIN member programs. You can also visit the Society of Clinical Neuropsychology, or APA's Division 40, for a comprehensive list of their training programs that focus on neuropsychology. Given how challenging it is for applicants to find postdoctoral training programs, one of the key recommendations from the Postdoc Summit in 2016 was to provide a centralized location or warehouse of information about postdoctoral training programs. We are so excited to announce that APPIC has created, funded and launched the new Universal Psychology Postdoctoral Directory, or UPPD. This allows applicants an easy means to search for programs based on personal preferences such as geography, emphasis area, specialty accreditation, research focus, type of institution, and so on. And what's so exciting about this is it is not limited to APPIC member programs. It provides a simple way to announce post-selection day information and updates. So for example, if programs have unfilled positions later in the application and selection cycle, they can announce that on the UPPD. So you can find all that information in one place. It's expected that this will be a valuable resource to learn about the universe of postdoctoral programs and to facilitate the usage of common procedures across programs in that broader universe of postdoctoral training in psychology. It also provides links to program websites and application instructions, as programs can differ significantly in their application process and deadlines. APPIC is inviting and encouraging all programs to use it. Again, in other words, this is not limited to APPIC member programs. It's available to everybody. And very excitingly, it is free for both programs and applicants to use. Similar to the UPPD, a related recommendation from the Postdoctoral Training Summit was to change the nature of the APPIC Postdoc Network Listserv. So, as of September 1st, 2016, the advertising of postdoctoral programs and psychology jobs will no longer be permitted on Postdoc Network. This change is to support the development and use of the UPPD. In other words, we aren't allowing this kind of advertising on the listserv anymore so that people, both applicants and programs, will utilize the UPPD as the primary source for advertising and marketing their programs and their positions. However, the listserv will continue to function as a forum for programs and applicants to ask questions and generate discussion about postdoctoral training issues. In addition to maintaining the Postdoc Network listserv, APPIC is developing new postdoc listservs to address other areas. For example, Postdoc News will be a new way to disseminate news and information from APPIC about postdoctoral training positions, including late-breaking news about programs such as attaining accreditation. The Postdoc Network listserv has been a well-utilized source of psychology job announcements, and we would like to continue to offer this service for the profession. In order to do that, APPIC will establish the new Jobs Network listserv for the sole purpose of announcing psychology jobs or positions that are not part of postdoctoral training programs. Please visit APPIC's webpage to review or sign up for any of the APPIC listservs, including all of the postdoctoral and jobs-related listservs. You probably remember the APPI from applying to internship, perhaps not fondly. There is a similar, although much shorter, much smoother, centralized application tool for postdoctoral program applications as well. The APPIC Psychology Postdoctoral Application Centralized Application System, or the APPICAS, or APPA for short. The APPA was funded by APPIC to assist better coordination of applications to postdoctoral training programs. This year will be the third year of its online application system. In 2015-2016, 138 postdoctoral training programs with 290 positions, as well as 802 applications, used the APPA. I expect that likely more programs will be using it this year. However, not all programs will use it, so it's important for you as a consumer to check the program websites or to talk with training program staff about their specific application instructions, as some will be using the APPA and some will be using lower tech options. The APPA typically contains common demographic and educational information that's required by many programs. In addition, it can be highly individualized and tailored to the programs. So they might include certain branding information, custom questions, the requirement of letters of recommendations, or certain other uploads. And again, that will be contained within the APPA and should be straightforward and understandable when you utilize the system. The APPA provides notification when letters are received, when transcripts are uploaded, and when applications are complete. It's important to note that there is a cost to you, the applicant, for using this system. It's $25 for your first application and $15 for each additional application. That being said, one of the benefits of using the APPA is that you only need to pay for your official transcripts one time, and they are utilized across applications, so there is some cost savings related to that. There were some initial technical issues in the launch of the APPA, but it has significantly improved over the last 2 years. With that in mind, you can't predict if there might be future technical problems. So I would say it's very important to give yourself extra time when you use the APPA. That way, if there are any technical difficulties, you have plenty of time to overcome them before your applications are due. You can register in the applicant portal. If you do have tech support questions, we have an identified contact at Liaison International, Joni Yaris, and her contact information is included here. If you have any other APPA-specific concerns, you can contact our APPIC board member and the postdoc work group chair, Dr. Wayne Siegel, and his contact information is also included on the slide. You may be wondering how postdoctoral selection and offers are handled, especially without a centralized and regulated process like a match. APPIC has created selection guidelines to help bring uniformity and fairness to the postdoctoral selection process. What we hope to do by creating these guidelines is to narrow the selection window, so to make the timeline for offers more reliable with a clearer beginning and end point. And most importantly, we want to increase fairness for both students or applicants and for training programs. However, not all programs will use the guidelines, and thus it's going to be so important for you as an applicant to find out what each of your programs that you apply to plans to do when it comes to handling selection. This is not the first year that APPIC has generated selection guidelines, and I'd say they've been questionably successful in past years. Even so, some structure, guidance, and organization is better than none, or that free market system. This year, there are some strong reasons to be optimistic about the guidelines. For example, some programs have publicly committed to following them. The VA, as an example, is requiring that all its clinical programs follow the guidelines, as is Kaiser Permanente, and many others. Speaking of the APPIC guidelines, I'd like to review the APPIC postdoctoral selection guidelines with you now. First, the guideline states that programs will give applicants at least 2 weeks' notice for an in-person interview where airline travel is required. The guidelines also state that programs should consider using remote interview formats such as video, Skype, or telephone interviews, or even interviews at regional meetings to offset the burden or hardship financially to applicants, as well as the burden and hardship associated with time away from your internship program. The guidelines also state that programs should wait to make offers until 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, February 27th, 2017, or the Universal Notification Day, UND. The guidelines further state that programs will utilize the reciprocal offer option prior to February 27th, 2017. And this is only in the case of a top applicant receiving a bona fide early offer from another postdoctoral training program. In other words, if you are a top applicant to a program and you receive an early offer from a program that is not following the guidelines, you can reach out to the program that is your top choice that is following the guidelines and ask for a reciprocal offer. And that program, if they're following the guidelines, can make you a reciprocal offer. They may require validation of the offer, and that's fair. They may ask you for proof that you have an offer in hand from another program. The guidelines further suggest that applicants be able to hold regular or non-reciprocal offers for at least 24 hours. And the guidelines say that programs should notify applicants as soon as they are no longer under consideration and when all their positions are filled. There are certain exceptions, so certain types of programs are excluded from following the guidelines. One is the 2-year clinical neuropsychology programs, and then the other would be programs that are predominantly research focused. However, they are encouraged to follow as much of the guidelines as they can. To learn more about the guidelines, visit the APPIC webpage on postdoctoral training issues, where you can review the guidelines in further detail. You may be wondering if there are any resources for after the Uniform Notification Day, UND, if someone does not end up with an offer on that day. First and foremost, I think it's important, if you don't have an offer on UND, to know that this is not a reflection on you as a person or your qualifications. Following this, in terms of how to proceed, the logistics of what to do next, the most important thing to do is to begin problem solving. One step in problem solving is to start by assessing your options. So what other open positions remain at this point? Last year, APPIC hosted a post-notification day unfilled position portal, and that was an important place to go when it came to assessing your options. That's where people learned what programs remained available. And one of the things that was, I think, very exciting for applicants is that last year, many great programs did post vacancies on that portal. This year, we expect that there once again will be many vacancies at great programs after the UND. But instead of listing those in a separate unfilled position portal like we did last year, these vacancies will be posted within the UPPD this year. So there's an easy way for programs to designate that they have an unfilled position or vacancy post-UND in the UPPD. And you should be familiar with using the UPPD from your search earlier on in the process. So it should be very easy to go back there and look for those unfilled vacancies. So the final step, once you have found programs to your liking within the UPPD after the UND, is to submit new applications. And typically this process goes much faster at this stage in the game. The APPIC board and APPIC postdoctoral work group thank you for taking the time to go through this information with me today. We hope that you found the information helpful and informative, but most importantly, we hope that you feel more confident, excited, and prepared to pursue the postdoctoral application process. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or my colleagues on the board or the work group.